about Diana, I think it was fairly obvious that may happen in this one. Jarvan in fourth as well, the second ban for the Tigers. Victor and Lissandra on the other side for WE.
It's really weird with the Jarvan ban, but it's because Spirit is still first picking it despite it being nerfed. So I feel like they're just completely targeting the comfort picks, and we see the Sivir as well. So no real hard engage setup. And also Rek'Sai is still open for Smeb, or sorry, for Lee if he wants it in the jungle.
It's a really interesting draft in terms of banning out the team composition that has worked for World Elite so far. They're forcing them, okay, show us what else do you have. We know you can play these champions in a composition. Let's see what else do you have. They haven't targeted Aluka in a single time, and I feel like that's just showing that they have complete control in Smeb and being able to lock him down.
And that's the thing when you play a best out of 3 here. You can take a few chances in the first game in terms of your bans. You can target towards World Elite, say, what can you do if you have to play, you know, like a proper team in terms of communication and everything in your setup? Can you manage to beat us that way? Because we know G Tigers love to run these very kite-focused compositions. If there's no hard engage coming in from the side of World Elite, well, how are they ever going to start a fight?
Well, we do see there Maokai and LeBlanc, so Xiye going to be playing that LeBlanc here. Obviously, Diana being his champion of choice so far.
Yeah. Most played pick in solo queue for him, so not too much of a surprise, but still different. Obviously not going to run teleport on that one, so you won't have that split pushing threat. I would assume not running teleport.
Yeah, I was going to say.
I'm not going to guarantee anything at this point.
And it looks like G Tiger's going to go for a very strong bottom lane there. Janna and Corki.
Well, I think for now, the answer that World Elite has to respond with is going to have to be the physical damage jungler. You know, not take the Nidalee and go for something that's a little bit more gank-oriented, like the Lee Sin. And with the Maokai LeBlanc, you have a really strong pick composition, which you've seen the prowess with the Tigers in terms of their team fighting. Now, just ignore the team fight. Go for something that you can really snowball with. And like the Lee Sin with the LeBlanc chain, with the Maokai in the lanes can really turn anything in the laning phase. And now, the double AD composition, one of the strengths of taking the early Corki, because it allows you to run double, no AP threats, just because Corki, with the sorcerer shoes and a little bit of the AP on the Trinity, enough poke to all right, you need magic resist versus
Right,
Corki.
okay, fair enough. And also against the Rumble.
Yeah.
So in this case here, very standard G Tiger setup. You got the disengage from the Janna, you got the Rumble ulti as well to zone away, and of course the double AD carry composition. I still like the LeBlanc Lee Sin setup because those two together will beat the Rek'Sai and Ezreal in terms of the early game. So there is some pressure at least from the G Tigers around that lane. And wow, Kalista coming in with the Sivir ban. She's been changed here on this patch, and nobody else really wants to play her.
What I really like about the World Elite draft is that they're really playing to the strength of their players. All of them incredible solo queue talent, and you're picking 3 really high skill cap champions, LeBlanc, Lee Sin, Kalista. They're really going to be, like, these 3 champions can be completely different in the hands of great players.
I do hate Kalista though in this setup, because you need to continue to auto attack over the entire fight. And against a kite composition, they're literally just going to run away from you and not allow you to get enough stacks. So let's see how it works.
Yeah, the comps are locked in. We're going to be on the Rift of the GE Tigers versus WE Game 1 right after this.
All right, guys, it's time to get our second semifinal match underway. The GE Tigers, #1 team in South Korea against WE, the team that's struggled in China, has had some success this week here at IEM. I feel like there's some strong favorites coming into this one, some strong opinions on the expert desk as well. What do you guys think? What's your take on this one?
I mean, I do agree with the strong opinions on the expert desk. I feel like the point of this is just to try and get some lane kills against Corki, Janna. Maybe you get a good Thresh hook in. I know you have some opinions about the M3 games that happened when WE played a similar style of duo lane.
Xiye in particular was a big reason that they lost those games to M3 a week ago, because he disrespected level 2 all-ins from the Kalista Thresh, Kalista Morgana lane. It'll be interesting to see how he synergizes with Mystic, of course, because Mystic is now the substitute AD carry. The main thing I'm a little nervous for this team is how do they plan on controlling the mid game? GE Tigers are incredible at playing the map, incredible at playing around weakness, and I don't expect them to give up lane kills. So with that in mind, where do World Elite enforce their strength on the map?
Now here we go, World Elite versus the GE Tigers. Welcome to Summoner's Rift, a fan at level 1, nice and safe. And a lot of pressure on WE. Obviously, they know how favored GE are. GE, I mean, you saw these guys backstage. They did not look nervous at all. And
They
we'll
got
see.
better dance moves than I do, Doa.
They do that. That was some pretty smooth stuff from Prey, especially, I thought.
Yeah, it should be. Well, we'll see how interesting of a matchup it is. I think that GE, this is just them going to be playing their game, going for those mid-game groupings, and I don't think WE is going to have a terrific time engaging on them. KurO.
Yeah, well, you got to wonder too. I mean, with GE, just how if they approach it too casually. You know, we've seen in Korea on OGN what happens when GE doesn't really respect their opponents. We've seen series get a little bit sloppy by them in the past. I'd like to think they won't do that here. They haven't this week. They haven't done it yesterday. They may be going into this one with a lot of confidence, but they got to keep it serious.
Yeah. The one thing they've got to be careful of is just getting caught by those hooks.
Okay.
If any chains get hooked at all, it's going to be problems. But the defense of the Raptor Cap.
So right there was only 2 saplings, so LeBlanc is actually going to take the little Raptors and then go to lane for an XP advantage. So we've seen some of the Korean teams do that with Maokai and Ari, SK Telecom pulling that one off. So they want to get this mid lane rolling early for Xiye and see what they can do. So that's an interesting trick that you can do for your mid laner or a Maokai player.
Yeah. They really need Xiye to get a nice little edge in lane early on too. I mean, you and I, we were all talking about it before the game started, and WE really needs to make plays in lane early on.
Well, I think that's really the only hope here, because at this stage in their development, it would be pretty unusual for them to be able to unseat a team of the caliber of the GE Tigers in terms of team fighting, synergy, team play,
of course,
rotation. So that's really where they have to get the edge in this game. Spirit with the actual early grab take right here.
I think it's going to be difficult for World Elite because of even in the games that they won earlier today, didn't work in their favor. Smeb's got flash though.
Yeah, Spear coming in, Smeb, he's probably going to have to just walk casually out of there. Yep, not even needing to use that flash.
Ruby Crystal helping keep that HP healthy. I think he was expecting to be under pressure, as you can imagine with Spirit going Lee Sin.
Yeah, you're playing against Spirit. Of course you're going to be under a lot of pressure early on. And unfortunately for WE, that top gank not working out. I do like that Ruby Crystal start too, because it's going to mean pretty fast haunting guys for Smeb potentially as well.
Yeah, and I really like the way Spirit went about that gank too. Very conservative. Didn't just rush up there right after hitting level 2 and getting that red buff. He instead opted to take the crab first, making sure there's no follow-up or counter gank potential coming in. So relatively safe gank. He's going to come around, try again. Smeb close to that wall.
Smeb in a little bit of trouble. Yeah, gets jumped on by the Q. There's the knockup with that arcane smash. Smeb trying to get away. Already used the flash, and first blood goes to WE. Aluka grabs that one, and I think Smeb just not respecting the position he was in there.
No, very, very poor play from Smeb, because when you see the level 2 Lee Sin come in out of the red buff, you can assume that he's going to go back to that same side of the map and continue jungling. And how is he going to get on you? Well, first off, he had a ward in the river, so the only place he can gank from is by standing next to that wall for a Sonic Wave. Pretty
Poor positioning.
Poor play from Smeb right there.
The scary thing is, I don't think it's even going to cost him a whole lot. There is a teleport advantage for Aluka if he decides to run back to lane.
Well, GE was able to steal the blue throughout that too.
Yep, jungle control from Lee. And of course, having the numbers down the bottom half. You saw Gorilla moving up to help out. So a decent start for World Elite. But the question is it going to be enough to get Aluka to a power position quickly?
Well, I mean, the last time we saw GE kind of give up a boneheaded first blood was against Cloud9 earlier in this tournament, and that game ended in GE's favor in 28 minutes. So it has not been really a barrier to their success, nor has really any early game deficit.
So short answer, no.
Yeah. Well, I mean, GE has been behind in many games throughout the recent season here, and they've always managed, or nearly always managed, to come back and win those.
I'm interested to see if GE want to put some early pressure on that Dragon, with Smeb going to get a very early haunting guys with no Doran's item. And that's going to give them just so much control in that pit, especially against an AD carry like Kalista, who needs items to get that attack speed up to scale up. Very, very item dependent before Kalista can get enabled, and that's going to be compounded by how difficult it'll be to stick to anyone on GT that's not Smeb.
There's a knock-up onto Aluka, taking a lot of damage right away. Tried to twist advance back in, his flash is down as well, and so Smeb gets that answering kill, and this is why that first blood wasn't a huge concern. He knew Lee was going to be able to come up there, make a play as well. Kills evened up between the top laners, between the jungles now, and on top of that, Smeb has the CS lead for the moment.
Well, and plus, even if there was a counter gank in that scenario, they still had the extra flash on their side in order to deal with it. You see it coming with Rek'Sai as well, and there's the TP used for Aluka, getting right back in lane, but everything pretty much evened up, but there goes KurO.
Wow, we got to get a replay of that, hopefully. Xiye just 1v1s KoKo in mid, or KurO rather in mid. That's something that we don't see too often.
I would not have expected that one, but yesterday and today, Xiye definitely had a few good plays across the map. This morning in particular, when playing against CJ Entus, I felt like Xiye had found some more rhythm, had found some more confidence, was playing that Diana, of course, which was banned away. But a good kill to put on the board, and World Elite still got themselves a small lead.
Yeah, well, I mean, Xiye has shown himself to be a very, very good LeBlanc player. Certainly a talented mechanical player in lane. And it helps. It helps to get that solo kill against KurO, even if you are... Okay, here's that replay. Let's see how this worked out. Well, basically just got blown up.
Yeah, didn't even have to really get the rest of the chains right there. Spirit also looking for a cleanup, but just a very clean kill.
And something else to highlight about that, the fact that Xiye was running Flash Ignite, we've not seen him play super aggressive in lane because he's been running Flash Teleport all three previous games.
Yeah,
so this is the first time that we've seen him really go, crazy aggressive, and it may have caught GE Tigers off guard because he's not run that aggressive summoner.
Yeah, quite true. I mean, this Ezreal will have a little bit of time to sort of build things up. I think Lee actually, he just got that Rift Sculler, just walked up and smited it away from Spirit.
Yeah, Spirit no smite off cooldown in order to make that play. And the punishment continues right here. That's 50% of Spirit's HP bar down right now.
This is going to force Lee to stick around the mid lane too. Looks like he might have some action in bot as Prey has to Valk over the wall to make it out. A little bit of a dangerous move there, but...
I like the way Xiye is playing this LeBlanc. Yes, it's all the pressure's on him anyway, so he should be playing aggressively and should be trying to poke down KurO, but it's something that can work in World Elite's favor. And we were touching on the team comp and how GE Tigers are going to be able to kite around. If Aluka is able to lock somebody down, and Xiye, with the current mobility and damage that he's demonstrated, can remove one of those AD carry threats, that could be a window into this matchup for World Elite.
Yeah, and there are exploitable champions in terms of burst here as well. But there we go, Xiye going in again.
Yep, KurO taking another big chunk of health off his life bar, and wow. I mean, it's going to take a while for this Ezreal to power up, that's for sure. Prey needs to be very careful because there are two members of WE hiding that brush. Here we go, Mystic with the ultimate on Kalista. Oh, Death Sentence misses though for YuZhe. And Prey gets away without any issues. Tried to make a play on the Prey when he was alone in that bot lane, but...
Good trade though. Flash burn from Prey in exchange for that Fate's Call, so...
Yeah, it wasn't bad at all.
Yeah, and with the Gorilla roam into the mid lane, you can see how the GE Tigers are playing around KurO's disadvantage though. They always have somebody kind of backing him up in the mid lane right now. Should there be any further all-in attempts from LeBlanc, Gorilla there to protect him with the shield on the last one. Lee trying to snowball Smeb up in this top side.
And the interesting thing, though, is even though she is the one that's been jumping on KurO, it's not resulted into any noticeable CS step lead. It's 1 minion wave, and she has jumped onto KurO's Ezreal at every single opportunity. So it's not hurting KurO yet, and World Elite going to have a numbers advantage for an early dragon here.
Yeah, it looks like they're going to go for it here. I mean, Lee coming in, he throws down the ward. Will he let it go? Will he try to steal it? Just lets that one go to WE. And it is that first dragon early on, not the biggest deal. Meanwhile, Smeb going on to Aluka in the top lane, forcing that out of Maokai. Alt out of Maokai. That's a hard sentence to say. Alt out of Maokai. Say that 5 times fast. Either way, WE walks away with the dragon, getting that early buff. And we'll see how GE wants to respond. Just kind of playing this one really passive. And
WE is legitimately playing the map quite well right now in terms of using the fact that Gorilla has been out of lane, that they have the pressure in the mid and bottom side to take that uncontested dragon. It's not the biggest victory in the world, but they're doing what they can, and they do have an advantage early in this game.
Yeah, like the guys at the desk, expert desk were saying, early game is where it's really going to matter for World Elite. But one thing I do want to highlight, KurO with an early Vamp Scepter, it's very non-traditional on that mid Ezreal. And I think he's feeling the pinch from all of that damage that she is putting down.
Yeah, it's going to delay his power spike significantly as well. Of course, let's see if he goes for the Manamune next, or what his decision will be if he wants a little bit more tankiness and mobility from that phase. Lee getting caught out a little bit, all alone in the topside jungle.
yeah, Luca's able to chase him for a while, and it looks like Xiye's coming up from the mid lane. True Shot Barrage fired up to try to add some support for Lee, but he'll be fine either way, gets away. And meanwhile, KurO getting a little bit more time to farm. Still a little bit behind in CS.
See, it feels like every single time we look at this middle lane, Xiye is using W to jump on top of KurO.
Oh, yeah.
Over and over. Small lead, but Smeb, they're looking for Aluka now.
Speaking of jumps, they try to make a play onto Aluka there, but too close to the turret. He had his flash up again, so no successful gank there for WE, or for GE Tigers, rather. Oh, the recall stopped, though, by Aluka for the moment. Interesting choice of place to try to recall for Lee there.
And, you know, I'm curious as to Smeb's build right here, because he looks like he's going for Liandry's first, which, you know, he has
Could
the
be
Maokai.
Hourglass.
Yeah, okay, fair
Could
enough.
be Hourglass.
Fair enough.
You don't need the armor against Maokai,
Yeah, fair
so
enough.
it would save you, get the additional AP as opposed to going cloth, but it could also be another Haunting Guise for Liandry, so time will tell.
Yeah, I'm just curious, because I don't think Liandry's is necessarily the best first buy, especially when he's already winning this lane at this point up against Aluka. And Prey and Gorilla continue to play defensive under the turret, and here we go. This may be the first major attempt at this game. There's the True Shot Barrage. Will clear out the minion wave. And Xiye may be behind enemy lines. Lee is already here.
Yeah, she is in a little bit of trouble here. He already used that distortion. Looks like they're going to scout him out with the scrying orb again, and just not exactly sure where the members of WE are, so they'll let him go.
And Bloodthirster first, optimistic. I'm really not the biggest fan of this build onto Kalista, because you do hit a lull in the mid game, and you know what you have to remember about GE's composition is that they are going to spike really hard in the mid game, and Mystic just isn't going to have any wave clear, and he's not going to have any damage for a really long time. So we're already looking at a composition.
Uh-oh, here we go. Lee trying to go in for the counter gank. Xiye getting knocked up, use that Chilling Smite as well, but it looks like he'll be able to get away so hard to make a play onto that LeBlanc.
Yeah, but even so, getting the flash means he's not going to be able to W that aggressively anymore, so that's going to be very helpful for KurO. Like I was saying, there's not really a lot of wave clear on WE, so this mid-game power spike, you know, you lay down an equalizer and clear out that minion wave and chunk out your opponents, and they're going to have a very, very difficult time stopping the wave pressure coming in. So I do feel this is a bit of a ticking time bomb in favor of the GE Tigers. See, though, KurO is going to be pretty delayed on that Trinity Force at this point, going for the Muramana. So at least they've bought themselves a little more time to perhaps do something. But yeah, I really think that Hurricane may have been the better build right here. Smeb going in for a dive.
Time for a dive. There's the equalizer laid down. Aluka trying to survive, but he does not last long. And another easy kill for Smeb and Lee up in that top lane. They've really identified that as a lane that they can sort of snowball, and they've been doing a pretty good job of that so far.
Yeah, that couldn't have been any cleaner from the GE Tigers.
Yeah.
And I think, you know, to touch on the World Elite lack of wave clear, if and when Aluka eventually gets towards a Righteous Glory, if he decides to go that route, I think for World Elite it's going to be all about landing those chains. Get Maokai to lock somebody down, get LeBlanc and Thresh to follow up, because simply put, if they don't, they're just going to get run around in circles. The disengage from Janna is going to be fantastic, and if KurO decides to go for those early Captain Boots upgrades, you've got great running forward, great running backwards. And Monty, Smeb did in fact upgrade to that Leandries.
That was fast.
Not the most efficient usage of his gold, but I guess he is up, what, 25 CS and 2 kills, so...
Well, if they want to keep going after Aluka right here, and Aluka continues to stack all of this HP, I just don't see it as effective outside of this lane scenario. So it wouldn't be, I think, the first choice right here. In fact, you also have the opportunity to go for Abyssal Scepter, which may be superior, but here we go again.
Yeah, Smeb may be in a little bit of trouble here. Spirit coming in to help Aluka out with this gank. Smeb, he's got that flash, but flash is up for WE as well. Oh, nice kick by Spirit. Smeb flashing, can anybody save him? Doesn't look like it, and so gank for gank, and WE answers back, but this time they do it right before Dragon.
Yeah, I'm not sure it was worth flashing for that number one, but what I do like from GE, the moment that you saw Spirit in the top lane, Gorilla and Lee instantly moved into World Elite's jungle, placed some wards down, and then they've got to the positioning on the Dragon.
Yeah, glad you mentioned that, because I was watching that gank, and halfway through it, Gorilla and Lee were already past the blue buff. The reaction was instantaneous. They'll trade a tower for it. First Dragon of the match going over to GE. Or for their first Dragon.
Yeah. Oh, and Prey gets grabbed. Mystic, there's the box as well. They're going to try to make a play. Gorilla pushing everybody back with that all pushing every back.
It's been a long few days for everybody, hasn't it?
I guess so. I don't know. Either way, they save Prey. And he gets away.
To stay another day.
Touché.
Well, anyway, before we get into a rhyming competition here that I can't stop.
No, I actually ran out.
Oh, KurO in a bit of trouble. Manages to get over the wall. Close call. I'm done.
Xiye is doing very well in this LeBlanc, but again, it's not equating to control.
Yep.
Yes, KurO's under pressure, but look at the CS, look at the gold. This is still completely even on Dragons. There's a small kill advantage for World Elite, but it just doesn't feel like GE have hit the items they need to decide to group and push the towers down. So as long as this game continues to be in this sort of stagnant equality, so to speak, GE are going to be happy with it. They bought time for KurO, who's already behind in his build, very far behind, in fact, thanks to early Lucidity boots and Vamp Scepter.
Yeah,
but he's not going to mind.
He really just needs that for extra wave clear, I think. If you're GE, you have to be so confident in your late game play. Missed hook.
Ooh, man, that was close.
On to Gorilla right there with no Monsoon. That may have been a harder situation to get out of, but in the end, they'll still pink ward it up, clear out the vision.
And you know, the other thing here as well, World Elite have not been particularly proactive. You know, Spirits had 1 or 2 odd ganks in the top lane. Bottom lane's just been straight up farming. We've not seen any teleport plays. For the team comp that World Elite has, they really, really need to get themselves some item advantages more than the simple 1,000 gold that they've got accrued.
Yeah, I totally agree with you. And yes,
Gorilla in a little bit of trouble, gets grabbed by Xiye.
Whoa.
Just instantly blown up already. Yeah, the damage getting a little bit scary right off the bat on that LeBlanc, but Gorilla, you know, sometimes it's the dangers of warding, you know? Sometimes you get in there and you just get killed.
I mean, I think GE has been playing pretty sloppily so far this game.
Yeah.
They have gone with a lot of comfort picks. They're going to try and push down this top lane, get another outer turret down in their favor, but no one left to defend the bottom side. And Mystic will take that one as well. So trading objectives pretty evenly right here.
But look, middle lane though.
Yeah, with WE, and there we go. True Shot Barrage comes over the top. It looks like it'll stand just a bit longer right there with the help of the Eye of the Storm.
Yeah, the Janna shield helping out quite a bit there, actually, and keeping that mid lane turret alive. WE is just going to rotate right into the enemy jungle, though, and see what they can take. Oh, this looks like a crafty gank for WE, but I don't think they're going to find anybody.
I have to be honest, this LeBlanc pick is impressing me and has continued to surprise me. Xiye is really, really stepping up, and I don't know why they didn't play it sooner. If Xiye can play this well in the later team fights and get rid of a damage threat, that's another way for World Elite to get in.
Equalizes the lockdown. He got saved by Mystic, though, using that Fate's Call to bring in the support. YuZhe.
This is one of the reasons why it's so difficult to snowball against the GE Tigers, is that they're always in the right lane to back up whoever is getting low. They've been trying to protect KurO for most of this game. It's been working in the fact that he has been at least going pretty even in farm. And, you know, if the lanes are pushed back like that, it opens up time for Smeb. So it's all about those map movements, all about protecting the members who are behind and giving them that leg back up again to get them into the right power spike where they need to be.
Well, yeah, that's it. I mean, the adaptability for GE Tigers that we've seen, you know, all season in Korea is kind of going to probably show itself here too. You know, they're able to support each other, change what they're doing, and make sure nobody gets too far behind.
What I love about GE Tigers at the moment is all the defensive wards in and around the entries to their jungle around the mid lane. Because of all of the focus and the pressure that she has had, and the fact that you don't want KurO to fall further and further behind, they've got that information to work with. If Xiye and World Elite are able to get some vision, control, and you can remove Gorilla before a monsoon, before those Howling Gales go out, a lot of that kiting power to the GE Tigers team composition can get eliminated just by a strong flank or strong positioning. So there's a lot of pressure on Xiye to get Gorilla by surprise.
Yeah, absolutely. And they must control the LeBlanc at this point. Of course, still able to convincingly eliminate champions if given the opportunity, especially considering how well she has been doing in the laning phase. And
well, they're going to spot him with a ward right there. He's going to come over the wall, though. A little bit of damage onto KurO. Looks like that ward is a goner now. But again, you know, KurO just kind of staying safe. Oh, maybe not so much. Gets kicked right into WE. I had to say he was staying safe, didn't I?
Gotta curse him.
Not very safe right there.
They can drop Equalizer if they want to, but it looks like they're not going to make that decision. Instead, playing defensively, allowing that turtle tower to fall. And, you know, this is a pretty dangerous lead that WE has right now.
Well, with Dragon coming up in about 30 seconds, too, you don't want to use that Equalizer to save a turret that's nearly dead, I suppose, too.
So it does hint that they do actually want to make a play here around the Dragon, but otherwise WE having some pretty convincing outplays across the board right now. Great initiation from Spirit and really good setup to continue.
This would not be the best recall timing, though, as Dragon is up in 10 seconds. Do you think this is a little bit too risky?
Well, we'll have to see. There's a lot of vision here for World Elite, so teleport's still up for Aluka, and doesn't seem to be any rush from GE. Plus, GE, at the moment, I think you could put an argument forward that maybe they should look to create some confusion and create some chaos. World Elite is a team with substitutes, is a team with new players on the roster, and we saw yesterday in the chaotic, all over the place fights, bad decisions were made.
He got grabbed in a little bit of trouble. He manages to get out. There's a nice knockup from that Whirlwind. Box popped at a little bit of an odd time for YuZhe. I think he was trying to keep Lee in there, but it didn't end up working out. But with that cooldown down, this Dragon may just go to the GE Tigers. We'll see if WE can do anything about it.
And the answer, I think, will be no, Doa.
Yeah, I think you're right.
Nobody's committing. Vengeful Maelstrom wasn't available there. World Elite, despite having all of the vision, actually did get punished by that back timing. They weren't in range to defend their wards and defend their position on the map.
Yeah, you have to be able to defend those wards. And so going back, GE a little bit gun-shy about moving into that Dragon in the first place because they didn't know the situation. In fact, wanted to get Prey red. There's a hook onto Smeb. I don't know if you want to hook him.
Well, we'll find out. Mystic really low. There's the Equalizer dropped already. Smeb getting into the back lines. There's one kill for him, one kill for Prey. And Spirit getting
taken out. Here comes Aluka.
Yep. Sky, Aluka coming in from behind. Well, immediately knock up on Xiye. Aluka trying to get in the back lines against Smeb. In a lot of trouble. YuZhe doing what he can. Aluka just running for his life now. Yet another knock up from Lee. Yet another kill for GE Tigers. They get the turret as well. Xiye coming in. Can he get Prey? So close. KurO manages to get that kill, though. A double kill, meanwhile, for Lee, and that is an ace at 23 minutes here for the GE Tigers, and this is what you expect for the Tigers. They wait, they play it carefully, and then when the time is right, they strike, and they make plays like that.
You mean they pounce?
They pounce, that's right. Tigers, you know, I mean, Udyr would say a tiger strikes sometimes, I would say.
The thing I love about that is GE Tigers just instantly punish World Elite for being split up.
Yep.
Very, very aggressive. It was World Elite that landed the death sentence and instantly regretted that decision. And GE just committed. They threw everything they had at World Elite, got themselves the ace and the tower.
And yeah, exactly. And the tower was low enough as well that they felt comfortable. It only took a couple more autos in order to take it down in the end, and they followed through beautifully. And this is where the GE Tigers really shined. You'll notice right before that we did see the Muramana complete for KurO, so he's starting to do a lot of damage. He did clean up Xiye at the end of that fight. And this is
Oh, Mystic. I have a premonition that you may be about to die. Yep. Goodbye.
Oh, you can take the New Prophet
I was
logo
Mystic there, wasn't I, guys?
And that's so unfortunate because you actually saw the vision there from World Elite. You can see in the river, just not in the bush. And Mystic a bit meh.
Yeah, they're covering their entrances though, but that's why you can't walk up that far. He just went like, what the unit is the Timo, like 5 Timos too far up the river, right there.
He didn't respect the dude potential of that brush as well. Could have been higher even number of Garens in that brush.
The thing I do like about Mystic's build with that Bloodthirster, and now that he's got the Phantom Dancer, he has basically just been enabled all of that attack damage. It's a little different to what we've been seeing out of European Kalistas who like to build the Blade of the Rune King, but we'll touch on that in a second because GE Tigers are grouped up and
Xiye comes
so
in.
low.
Prey just picks him off. Yeah, he went in at about half health. Interesting decision there. Lee, meanwhile, zoning out Spirit. It's a jungle battle as their turret is destroyed by KurO and the rest of the GE Tigers. And now 4 turrets to 3. Keep in mind, guys, not too long ago, the GE Tigers were 4K gold down. Now they're 3K gold up again. The swing has been...
Against a team with no wave clear.
Yeah, the swing has been insane.
I mean, what are they going to use? A sapling? Or let Xiye jump in with distortion and then all of a sudden get popped by the poke like we just saw?
Killed by Prey again, yeah.
And, you know, then you have to be in a difficult decision, too, if you're going to try and use that ult for distortion to clear out the rest of the wave. It's very problematic. So GE looking a bit shaky early, a bit sloppy early, and WE able to capitalize through good individual outplays. But, you know, when it comes down to the teamwork in this game, this is where GE, the Tigers, really shine. You know, they have great players, but when we think of the GE Tigers, sure, I think Prey and Smeb are probably and Gorilla probably ultra elite at their positions. But KurO normally is just a defensive mid laner. He's not known for getting flashy solo kills like a player like Faker is.
Right.
So it's just, they have a different strength. And it generally isn't the laning phase. They can hold their own, as they did with Farm, but then they just come back as a group.
Yeah, you see where World Elite are at the moment. It's the same page 1 playbook. Wait in the bush with pink ward.
Yep.
If no one, waits longer.
They waited a long time, but Prey was not going to bite on anything there.
I still think if World Elite can get some vision down, they have the tools to make picks, but the key is getting vision control. And at the moment, they're just being pushed too far back and taking way too much poke.
Prey going way deep onto Mystic, doing a ton of damage to him as well. And right now, it just seems like WE, whenever we see them on the screen, they're running away.
I'm really actually quite surprised by Prey's build in this game because I think Bloodthirster would have definitely been better than his Cutlass into Last Whisper. There is some armor, obviously, coming in, but at the same time, you at least get a little bit more protection from the LeBlanc that can blow you up. So that's a bit cocky in my mind to be going for that item at this stage in the game, considering that LeBlanc is the main threat so far and the one who did very well in the laning phase.
I can agree with that. So the one thing is, though, GE had such a massive swing in gold. Those, you know, Doa, you alluded to it, the towers, the kills, the ace, the dragon.
Yeah.
I think they got mid-tower previously just before that as well. Just such a big swing for GE.
There was a lot. Had a lot of money to spend. Why not spend it on the Last Whisper?
And yeah, 25 seconds till the next dragon. Looks like GE will be there to grab that. Scuttler going their way right in advance, and
yeah, WE, they want to try to stop this, but we'll see if they can. Already Prey loading the damage on with those rockets. Spirit losing about 1/4 of his health. Lots of wards. Near dragon.
But look, it's all defensive for World Elite. GE are so comfortable. They can see all the way down the river. World Elite, the only way that they could surprise GE would be to run around through the blue buff area.
And I want to contrast this with the last game that we saw actually win the Flash Wolves could have had an opportunity with a double AD comp. This is how you get in there and play it properly. You want the position in the river and to clog the chokes in this situation, thereby landing as much poke as possible, and that's what we're seeing here.
Yep.
Again, there is good engage from World Elite, just like TSM had, but that is the proper way to play it.
And the added threat of an equalizer.
Yep, it's even worse in this case.
If World Elite want to try get into the river from one of those choke points, you have to go through that equalizer, which is going to be terrifying.
Yep, another dragon for the GE Tigers, though, and that will bring them up to, I believe, 3? Yeah, 3 right now for the GE Tigers. That's starting to be a little bit threatening as we're only about 30 minutes into the game at the moment. WE got the first one. All GE from here on out.
Yeah, QuickShot and Prey are completely enabled. We haven't seen Prey spend money in a little while. Does have about 1,300 to go back with. But the main thing is that Trinity Force obviously completed there for QuickShot for a little while. He's got himself a lot of CDR, and just look at the sieging power. GE now, they're grouping up. They're just saying, they're daring World Elite to fight, I feel.
And again, you know, where's the wave clear? Oh, Smeb getting brought in. Looks like we may have a bit of a fight. There's the box, there's the equalizer. Prey on the outside, dealing the damage. Aluka looking for an angle to come in, but he's just not that tanky. Lee being the tank for the GE Tigers at the moment. And it looks like Mystic having to back away. Yep, a kill for KurO, a turret for KurO, and GE Tigers continues to sort of steamroll forward. Whoa, Xiye comes in with the kill onto Gorilla, but he's gonna actually, barely not live as KurO's able to get the kill on both him and he's, meanwhile, GE going still deeper into the WE base. Mystic getting taken down. A triple kill for KurO now, and Spirit still fighting it. It might be an ace. GE doesn't need it, though. They can turn around, they can take the turrets, and they can take this inhibitor. And again, you see the teamwork from the GE Tigers. A great, great fight.
It's amazing to me that the GE Tigers can come out of an early game that was pretty poor, honestly.
Yeah. Yep.
They made some, at least they got even in farm, but they got a little bit outplayed in the laning phase and turned it into such a decisive and threatening push, constantly taking objectives and using their ability to kite nearly perfectly. And if you look at the way they create threat zones, I mean, I really hope we get a replay of that, because as we
Here we go.
Oh, I wanted the one before.
Well, too bad. Deal with it.
Sad Panda Monty.
She tries to be a little bit cute right here. KurO's going to go over the wall, figure out which one is the real clone. And that's just a great read right there by KurO.
Yeah.
Coming around from the last auto attack. Lee coming in with the E.
And just very quickly as well, before that previous fight had even started, Mystic just showed himself in the middle lane to try push those waves out. And as basically within a few seconds of him showing, GE instantly grouped up and pushed with the minion wave top. The reaction at which they make a team decision is mind-boggling to me.
Yeah.
After the previous Dragon, similarly, realized that there was a numbers disadvantage bottom, engaged despite being hooked on, and just really smart, intelligent read of the game and the map.
And it's at every level too, right? We were even talking about the wards. When Smeb was dying, they were already convincingly moving into a different part of the map as soon as they saw Spirit there. What I wanted to talk about in that first fight was just they made it impossible really for LeBlanc to get in, because they use they stagger their abilities so well. First it was the equalizer, Flame Spitter straight into Zhonya's, and then Rek'Sai's clogging the rest of the space and getting knockups under the turret. So there was really not a lot of chance to even get in onto the back line within a comp that has a decent amount of engage.
And if you did, Gorilla would just kick you out anyway. So even if that front line had not secured, escapes in your AD carries plus that Janna backline, just a really, really intelligent play.
Wow, and absolutely no resistance as the GE Tigers take another turret in bot lane, rotating back towards mid yet again. But at this point, the map is theirs. GE controls the pretty much entirety of Summoner's Rift at this point.
There's very little that WE can do at this stage. It will be a patient Baron coming in from the GE Tigers at some point. Aluka there with the teleport, maybe trying to make a play, but there's a lot of control over the Baron pit right now from GE, sweeping out absolutely everything at this stage.
Yeah, they're
killing those Sentinels as well from Kalista. They're gonna force a face check right here of this brush and then use an equalizer over the wall.
Spirit in a lot of trouble. Here we go. Yep, you called that one, man.
No, I didn't. The equalizer was not used.
Well, the equalizer. Oh, not the equalizer.
You should have just taken the point. You should have just taken the point. Damn it.
I misheard you. Well, there goes Baron. Baron's like, well, I saw what that team could do against you guys, not much, so here, I won't put up much of a fight.
The thing is, right, you go all the way back. Laning phase actually went well for World Elite, but you can question whether or not going even is enough against a team that is, you know, much smarter,
Lee.
much more coordinated. And unfortunately for World Elite, they're now split up after trying to make a gambit on the inner turrets.
Nakabanyisa barely gets out with that Fate's Call. Mystic throwing him ahead there. Meanwhile, Xiye turns around, tries to get to play onto KurO. KurO still alive for now. Which one is real? LeBlanc? It's the one down in the bot lane. Smeb, meanwhile, takes out Yisa. And he's got, never mind. Two-shot barrage, that's about enough to take care of it. Double kill, meanwhile, for Smeb. And WE continuing to just not be able to do anything in the face of this GE Tigers team.
Aluka just like, peace, I'm not even going to teleport for this. You should not have been in there to begin with.
I mean, KurO just knowing his limits so well, actively trying to duel a LeBlanc on Ezreal. He had the shield from the Bloodthirster, but moving forward extremely aggressively. Now we have GE rolling through the bottom inhibitor.
Yep, going to be another inhibitor for the GE Tigers, and they won't be able to end it right here, it looks like. The death timer's still a bit too short, but they could try rotating over to the mid lane. They still have that Baron buff. They're still extremely powerful as a team, and they have a lot of cooldowns right now. Looks like, though, they're just going to back off and take that 4th dragon. So again, this is what we see from GE all the time. You know, even if they get behind early on, they just come back, play methodically, and then once you get to this stage in the game, there's no more mistakes. These guys are just a well-oiled machine.
Yeah, and you know, with World Elite, at this point, they should start discussing next game, start talking picks and bans. Their laning phase went well. They did have safe or favorable matchups across the map, which of course plays into their favor. But I think if you're in the World Elite camp, you should be looking at lanes with more kill threat and try to get the lanes working. They spend so much time in a head-to-head. Top v top, mid v mid, and duo v duo. Lee and Spirit showed their faces top lane a couple of times in the early game, but for World Elite they needed a lot more. They needed more impact out of the jungle. And Spirit has just not really had the same impact he once had.
Yeah, it's so hard.
Choose my words.
It's so hard though, like when you have these deep wards going in constantly, when you are getting read by that, I think he did his best to try and get the lanes rolling, and in fact helping to pick out that first blood onto Aluka in the top side. So I mean, it went about as well as you could want actually from WE early on, but this is a team that still really has a lot of work to do in terms of getting its synergy together. They have had a solid and respectable run so far this tournament, despite how new this team is.
Right. For a new roster, it's looking pretty good.
Yeah, absolutely. And you can definitely see the talent is there, at the very least, on this team. The mechanics are good. Their sense of the laning phase is good. So where do you go from here? It seems like it's going to be hard to go anywhere but up.
Yeah, I would imagine. GE Tigers, meanwhile, though, pushing up this mid lane. The top inhibitor did respond. There's the equalizer. Will GE go in? A big knockup from Spirit as he sends a kick through the team. Meanwhile, Luka getting into the back lines, but he's all on his own. Mystic trying to do damage, but just not able to deliver a lot. Just like that, 4 kills for the GE Tigers, and they will grab that perfect ace, well, almost perfect ace. KurO did go down due to Mystic in the end, but that is going to be it. So at about 37 minutes, the GE Tigers will close out a very convincing one, going from 4K down at about 15 minutes to now about 14,000 gold ahead at the end. There goes the Nexus. GE Tigers with a pretty convincing game 1. GG.
I mean, there's not much to say there. After the laning phase where WE got that advantage, the WE just wasn't on the same page in terms of which objectives to take, and GE were so forceful in their decision-making right there, and committing to objectives before we could actually see WE group up, that they just made it work.
Yeah, absolutely. And I mean, you see WE, the looks on their face at the moment, like, oh, okay, all right, well, we'll see what we can do next game. I saw, you know, Prey kind of chuckling a little bit. It's like, yeah, we were a bit lazy early on. We'll see if they can tighten it up for game number 2, though.
And coming into this match, GE has done they've had an interesting pick and ban phase so far this tournament. They've been banning, they've been basically pocket banning this entire time, taking away some preferred champions and seeing how deep people's pools go.
That's right. Well, let's send it back over to the experts to break down that game.